Ashley Baer, Preflux Journal number 5. I picked up the Utney Reader off the magazine rack at Sundance Natural Foods not because of the cover story, one about nuclear power, but because of the reputation of the magazine. A smart publication filled with articles previously published in other outlets. It wasn't until I got home that I noticed one of the small secondary headlines on the top of the magazine. Love your fat self. Intrigued, I jumped to page 36. What followed were 3 stories decrying the current anti-fat sentiment rampant throughout America. Shame on us, how an obsession with obesity turned fat into a moral failing. Love your fat self, an excerpt from Courtney E. Martin's Perfect Girls, Starving Daughters, The Frightening New Normalcy of Hating Your Body, and The Food Police, Why Michael Pollan Makes Me Want to Eat Cheetos. Within these 3 articles, the first being somewhat of an introduction summary to the following 2, the authors argue that the obesity epidemic has been overblown and that the nationwide mentality of thinking fat is killing us more than even being fat does. Millions of Americans struggle with eating disorders. Millions more yo-yo diet, which wreak havoc on the body as most who lose weight regain or put on more weight later on, and hating one's body has become almost expected for women today. I am torn. I agree with much of what these authors said, but disagree with a lot more. They tried to show that fat people are not to be maligned and sizeism should not remain the only true socially acceptable form of discrimination on the planet. That people can be perfect, beautiful, intelligent, witty, successful in loving relationships, and still be fat. One argues that too much of the anger against fat people comes from the perception that all fat people are, at best, victims of food, genetic codes, or metabolism, and, at worst, slovenly, stupid, or without resolve. Martin even argues that a thin woman who thinks she is fat can suffer more than a fat woman who loves herself. At the end of these articles, I don't know how to feel. I grew up being the fat kid. By the end of high school, I weighed nearly 278 pounds. Over the past 3.5 years, I've lost about 70. That means that I'm still part of the obesity epidemic of overweight and obese Americans, and I still live in that mindset. Yet I am happy. I don't hate myself, and am pained when I see my slender friends, who may not fit into a size 5 but are still thin and fit, worry about their weight. I worry about my weight because I know that I'm technically obese, even though I watch what I eat and exercise. I worry because I don't like how I look, but I am happy, and I take responsibility for my weight. I don't blame it on a thyroid condition, and I don't try to pass it off as a genetic predisposition to fatness. It's because I grew up eating donuts, macaroni and cheese, pizza, ice cream, cookies, and whatever other bad food you can think of, and because I wasn't active. I agree with Martin's argument that losing weight is not all about food. It's as much about emotional and psychological connections to food, and, as such, weight loss should perhaps include some counseling. However, I don't agree that we should learn to love our fat selves. We shouldn't hate ourselves, but we should strive to be a healthy weight. I know what it is to feel like to be carrying around those extra 70 pounds, to always be the last one picked at PE, to hear at 18 that my cholesterol levels were slightly elevated. So I changed. I didn't diet, I changed my diet, and I started exercising. It wasn't fast, and it wasn't always easy, but it worked. I don't even know how to end this little speech of mine. I'm so conflicted that I think I'd probably continue babbling for 10 minutes. I know losing weight is hard. I'm still trying to get to a healthy weight that I can be happy with. But I also know it's possible, and I don't think these articles give enough merit to that fact.